public comment line and you will hear, "You have raised your hand to ask a question. Please wait until the host calls in to you." The line will be silent as you wait your turn to speak. If at any time you change your mind and wish to withdraw yourself from the public comment line, press *3 again. You will hear the system say, "You have lowered your hand." When joining by WebEx or web browser, make sure the participant side panel is showing. At the bottom of the list of attendees is a small button or icon that looks like a hand. Press the hand icon to raise your hand. You will be unmuted when it is time for your comment. When you are done with your comment, click the right hand icon again to lower your hand. In addition to participating in real time, interested persons are encouraged to participate in this meeting by submitting public comment in writing by 12 p.m. on the day of the meeting to elections.commission@sf.org. It will be shared with the commission after this meeting has concluded and will be included in part of the official meeting file. Thank you, President Parker.
Thank you, Secretary Davis. Would you please proceed with item 1, commission roll call?
President Parker.
Here.
Vice President LaVolsi.
Here.
Commissioner Burrs.
Here.
Commissioner McNeil.
Here.
Commissioner Wong.
Here.
With, what do we have, 6 members?
5.
5. 5 members present and accounted for. We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. I'll proceed with the land acknowledgement. The San Francisco Elections Commission acknowledges that we are on the unceded ancestral homeland of the Ramaytush Ohlone, who are the original inhabitants of the San Francisco Peninsula. As the indigenous stewards of this land and in accordance with their traditions, the Ramaytush Ohlone have never ceded, lost, nor forgotten their responsibilities as caretakers of this place, as well as for all peoples who reside in their traditional territory. As guests, we recognize that we benefit from living and working on their traditional homeland. We wish to pay our respects by acknowledging the ancestors and relatives of the Ramaytush community and affirming their sovereign rights as First Peoples. Okay, we'll move to item 2, which is general public comment. This item is for public comment on any issue within the Election Commission's general jurisdiction that is not covered by another item on this agenda. Secretary Davis, do we have any commenters?
We have no commenters.
Okay, thank you. So we'll move on to item 3, approval of previous meeting minutes. This is discussion and possible action on the August 20th, 2025 Election Commission meeting minutes. Do I have any corrections or comments on those minutes? No? Okay. Oh, yes, go ahead.
Sorry, I think it's just a small typo in item 7. There's 2 periods, I think, separating between plan and time.
Okay. 2. Okay, thank you. Any other corrections or comments? Okay, so with that correction, do I have general consensus to approve the minutes as presented?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. Let's move to public comment.
No public comments.
And you're checking online as well, right? Okay, thank you. All right. Thank you very much. So we'll move on to the director's report. This is discussion and possible action regarding the September 2025 director's report. Topics covered in the reports are listed in our agenda. And so I will turn it over to Director Arntz.
Thank you, President Parker. I can take questions on the report, but just to give a few notes on the election yesterday. The next report that we issue will be on Thursday at 4 p.m. and the results report, and then the report following Thursday's report will occur next Thursday, on the 25th of September, and then that's the day I expect to certify this election as well. So there'll be a report on Thursday, then a final report next Thursday, and then I expect to certify the election next week, and possibly the board would have on its agenda the following week, which I think is the 30th. I can't to declare the results of the election. If not, it would be the following Tuesday, which I don't have that date in my head. So the board will either declare in 2 weeks or 3 weeks the results of this election. Then 10 days after the declaration of the results by the board, the mayor has 10 days to either sign the resolution, veto the resolution, or take no action. But it's likely that the mayor would either approve the resolution or take no action. Then that's when the vacancy will occur at that point. So I'll certify the election, the board will declare the results, and then the mayor can or cannot take action, and then the vacancy will occur. And then in June 2026, there will be an election, a vacancy election for District 4. So whoever the mayor appoints into the vacancy following the board declaring the results, there still will be a vacancy election that occurs in June 2026. The nomination period for June 2026 actually begins in December of this year. So whoever is appointed into the vacancy, potentially in October, if that person wants to continue in the term, would need to file nomination papers in December. And then in November of 2026 is the election for the new term, the next term for the District 4 supervisor. So those are the steps that will be involved around this office here in the near term. Then also, just to shift gears a bit, we'll be mailing the ballots for the November 4th election this Saturday to the overseas voters. So we'll be mailing about 12,000 ballots out this Saturday. So we're already shifting gears into the November election. And I think on the Thursday, we'll have most of the ballots, most everything reported that we've received. So I don't think there'll be a lot of votes outstanding after the Thursday results report. And after that, I can take any questions on this director's report before I go into the election plan for November.
Before you go into the election plan?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we'll go ahead, and commissioners, please raise your virtual hand here if you have any questions or comments on the director's report, not the election plan for November, just the report itself. Any questions or comments? All right, I'll add a couple. I have a couple. I was really excited about the elementary and middle school. I love the elementary middle school program for the introduction to voting. I think that's really smart. So it's really fun to see that. And also the pre-registration card design contest, which is based, you said, on the I voted sticker. The success that you all had with that. And one thing I was curious about, is there any, I know there's always timelines and it can get complicated, but is there any simple way for youth to be involved in choosing the design for that card as opposed to just staff?
I don't want to.
No, youth. Sorry,
Oh,
students.
youth. Oh, what's
Yeah,
me?
youth with
Yeah,
a TH.
I'm not the art guy. Yeah,
Not you.
No, I'm not the wrong choice for that. No, we need to actually be the ones who select the artwork for that card to make sure the criteria are met, and also to meet our timelines. So, so the answer is no.
Okay. All right. Great. Yeah, I was curious. Just the thing that was in my mind was if we're trying to design a card that will connect with young voters who are 16 or 17, they might have some opinions on what the art and the design sort of what's appealing to a 16 or 17-year-old, which presumably that's going to also come out in the designs that are chosen. But that was where that was coming from. But I understand if there were criteria. And then I also had, given these special elections we've been having this year, I was wondering if there were any implications on other department work that you had planned, had there been no special elections, that we should just be aware of that won't be happening or you'll have to delay until later. Yeah.
I mean, no, nothing that I think that impacts the department to the point that it's a crisis or anything that's going to impact the commission. So it certainly, I mean, there are certainly some work that we've had to wait until January to pick up again because we've had to do these elections. But no, I mean, this sort of is sort of what we do, so we can kind of get into the gear pretty quickly. Then we also know what has to be improved or changed or modified prior to the June election happening. So no.
Okay. Commissioner Burrs.
Thank you. So I wanted to just ask how the turnout compared to past, which I know is a great graphic that you have on the website, but if you could just kind of explain, kind of from your perspective, if you think that the election had sort of good, a good number, like a good percentage compared to past, and why you think that is or isn't.
Well, this is the only district recall election we've had in the city's history that I'm aware of. So there's no election to compare this against. So I don't really have anything myself to compare this election against. So other than to say that we received this number of votes, this is what's been reported, and these are the votes that had decided this question regarding the recall of the supervisor. But I don't have any comparison, any other elections or data to compare this against. I really don't have a perspective beyond that.
Okay. I guess I was just curious. I know that it was a quick turnaround and there was a lot of outreach to ensure that people were aware of the election. And I guess I was trying to get a sense of if quantitatively you have a way of kind of judging if that was effective.
Again, this is the only election we've had of this type. I've got nothing to compare this against. And all I can do is take these results and report them. That's the best I can do. So,
Thank you, Director.
Before I pass it on to another commissioner for a question, I just want to note when I look at the trends in voter turnout, I see a very similar percentage turnout with special elections, that are off cycle just for one specific item. And I did notice some consistency there in those numbers for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Not that it's the same, but ish. Vice President LaVolsi.
Director Arns, I have a question about the outreach to high school students and middle school students. Is this primarily public schools, or is there also a focus on independent private schools?
Oh, the private schools are always included in our outreach.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you have contacts to a private school, we'll be glad to take them. But we're always reaching out to both the public school system as well as the private schools.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, so we'll move on to the election plan for November.
So on the election plan, it's very similar to the plan we had for this September election that we're still in. We are going to consolidate the number of polling places again for the November election as we did for the September election. We'll consolidate actually a bit more from the consolidating 3 into 1 as we did for the September election to consolidate 5 or 6 into 1 for the November election. And that's just a matter of time. We don't have the time actually to move into a full 501 polling place election as we will for the June 2026 primary election. But by having, and we'll have 100 polling places for the November election, which will also, by extension, decrease the number of field support personnel that we'll have to bring aboard and prepare for the election. Also, the number of poll workers that we need to recruit and train, and also to designate to their sites. And so just simplifies a lot of our processes, and a lot of this is based more on time than making it simple for the department. But this will be a citywide election, so whereas this September election is just for District 4, so the scope will be much bigger than September, but still it'll be a smaller footprint in a way as far as our operations are concerned in comparison to recent elections, such as the upcoming June 2026 election. And then I think beyond that, I can take any questions. I mean, this is very similar to what what we're still actually conducting here for September. So I can take any questions at this point.
Okay, questions. Let's see. Vice President LaVolsi? Oh, or not. Anybody else have questions or comments on the election plan? Commissioner Burrs.
Thanks. So I'm just curious if you can talk a little bit about how people who might have a regular polling place, if it's been consolidated to a different place, is there any communication with them beyond what's described or what, kind of the polling place being identified on the mailer?
Right. So we'll also have the voter information pamphlet inserted into the ballot envelope again, as we did for this election, for the September election. I think I actually misspoke at the previous meeting about the information for polling places. It won't be on the back side of the voter information pamphlet that's inserted into the envelope, because usually information for polling places is on the back side of the voter information pamphlet cover. But there's actually another insert that will be included in the envelope, and that will indicate the location of the polling places for the voters.
So if somebody has a polling place that they would usually go to, but it's no longer a polling place, is there going to be any signage that says this is, kind of not a polling place?
I don't think so. Not for the November election, because we just don't have the resources to actually do that.
Okay.
And still, most voters are receiving ballots in the mail, which is helpful. And I think the insert does provide enough information for people who have questions about their polling places to actually contact us and ask where it is. We can provide that information. But the location of polling places will be in the insert. It'll, of course, be on our website, and there's the voter portal that's on the front page of our website that people can easily access and quickly determine the location of the polling place. And we also have a map of all the polling places on our website. So there are ways for people to determine where their location is beyond just the insert that they're receiving in the mail.
Okay.
So
That's helpful. Thank you.
Vice President Volsi.
Director Arntz, given the budget constraints and the fact that there are only going to be 100 polling places for the November election, is there going to be a reduction in the way in which you do outreach and information about this election? Is that going to significantly decrease as well, or?
Our approaches to outreach will continue as they have for previous elections. The time frame is tighter, certainly.
Right.
But and then also, the more requests we get, the more outreach we can do as well for the election. But no, we'll have this. Our staffing hasn't changed for outreach actually since the November election. We've been consistent.
Okay.
So we don't have to actually hire into our outreach division. We didn't have to for September because we maintained that staffing level.
Mm-hmm.
And so we won't have to again actually for November, unless we get a lot of requests for presentations or tabling, and then potentially we could bring in or bring other folks from the department, slide them over to outreach, to fill any like short-term gaps. But no, the outreach will be very similar and at the same capacity and levels that we've had ongoing for the past several elections. So
Thank you.
Okay, I am not seeing other hands right now, so I will have a couple of questions. I wondered if you had any, I noticed many examples that are in the plan about how you're trying to keep costs down, but I wondered if there are any other budget implications or expenses that might be covered, as we talked about in our last meeting, from the state. Is there any other budget information, since this was an unexpected item, that you want to share?
for November.
Mm-hmm.
So the state has come forward and indicated that counties will be reimbursed. And I think it's the end of either September or October that the states will be dispersing checks to the counties. And then the question is, will we be made whole because the checks to the city?
Right.
So there's hope. And the estimates that we put forward were accepted by the state. And so we think that the November election will be reimbursed and not impact our general funding going forward, especially in relation to the June election.
Okay, that's great to hear. Thank you. And then I was also noticing about the results timeline for November. the preliminary election results you said would be, so if the election's on Tuesday, preliminary results on Thursday and Monday after the election, then not until Mondays in the weeks afterwards. That sounds really similar to what you just described tonight for this times. So, and I was just curious, why is that? Because I'm used to sort of the daily updates after elections, and why are you all skipping Friday, for instance, or waiting a week? Is that just because of the number of ballots you're expecting to be reporting on at that point?
Well, it's not a local election.
Right,
It's a statewide election.
right.
And so we're not deciding any elections locally. And so whatever San Francisco tabulates and reports goes into the statewide pool of results. By law, we're obligated to report once a week, so we're meeting that obligation. And we cannot right now. The Assembly bill passed calling this election indicates that the date to certify the election is December 2nd. So we can't certify before December 2nd anyway. And for us to be putting out daily reports when really after the first week or so, most all the votes will be already processed and reported. And it just takes a lot of resources actually to go through the motions of posting everything, printing everything out, making it available. So that's the reason. It's not our election. It's a statewide election. Nothing locally will be impacted.
Okay.
There's no information that we are not providing on a daily basis that people are waiting on in relation to a local contest or measure. And then our results the results of this measure are statewide, and they'll be compiled and finalized on December 2nd for all counties.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. The last question I had is, as I was looking through all of the accessible voting options, aside from just the website and all kind of the normal communication channels you use, are there other ways that the department ensures that voters who have those specific accessibility needs know about it? Like, do you all partner with any organizations who work with these communities to get that information out?
Yeah, so just as we reach out to the organizations about general election information, we also reach out to organizations that we've worked with and we've identified who have contacted us regarding accessibility options. And we also have our voting accessibility advisory committee. We have 4 meetings a year. So, and then the folks who attend those meetings actually are part of larger groups. And so they're also taking information from our meetings and making it known to the people in their larger groups. So, and also, like Lighthouse for the Blind, we contact them every election. So we're reaching out. We provide materials. We'll do outreach at events specific to people with disabilities. So yeah, we make it known.
Okay. Thank you for sharing all that. I don't have any other questions or comments. So if there aren't others from other commissioners, then I think we can move to public comment before we take a vote on this plan.
Okay, I have you with your hand raised.
You hear me now?
We can hear you. Hold on just a moment. Let me put the timer on. I can find it. It's just. Okay. Okay, you're good to go.
Thank you. Good evening, David Pilpel, Pilpel, longtime observer, follower of this commission. I haven't checked it out in a while. Is there a hand raised? Are we okay? All right. Just wanted to express my appreciation to Director Arntz and the rest of the staff, including feds and polling place workers on yesterday's special recall election, which I think went very smoothly. And to the extent that there's still ballots out there to be counted, I'm sure they will be counted to allow certification next week in an orderly transition. I did not notice anything unusual, except for good things in the elections plan for November, and would commend that to you for your adoption tonight. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. There are no other hands raised.
Okay, thank you so much for that comment. We appreciate that observation and feedback. All right, so I need a motion and a second to approve the November elections plan.
I motion that we approve the November elections plan.
I'll second that motion.
So Vice President LaVolsi and then Commissioner Burrs was the second. And then thank you. We'll move to a roll call vote. Yes.
Vice President LaVolsi,
Yes.
Commissioner Burrs,
Yes.
Commissioner McNeil,
Yes.
Commissioner Wong.
Yes.
Okay, with all commissioners voting, you have a quorum. You have a full agreement.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Secretary Davis. And thank you very much, Director Arns, for that always thorough and a pleasure to read our election plans. All right, so we're going to move on to item 5. This is public comment on all matters pertaining to item 7 below, which is the closed session, including public comment on item 6, the vote on whether to hold item 7 in closed session. So we'll open it up now to public comment.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great, David Pilpel again. So this was my primary concern tonight. I have no quarrel with item 7C, the review of the Director of Elections. My concern is about 7B, the proposed conference with legal counsel. Although there are a number of cases that are listed as existed and anticipated litigation, it's my view at this time that under both state law, the Brown Act 54956.9B and the Sunshine Ordinance, Section 67.10, also D, that the commission, given its limited jurisdiction over the department, may not be appropriate to go into closed session on this matter. I recall a series of Julia Mall memos in 2005 concerning the authority and jurisdiction of the commission, including reference to Charter Section 13.104, which vests in the Director of Elections specific items about the day-to-day conduct and management of the department, specifically including voter registration. So to the extent that this proposed closed session involves voter registration and information that may be sought by the Trump administration with regard to voter registration, I think that's a legal matter to be handled by the city attorney and the Director of Elections. And I am not currently of the view that this commission would need to weigh in on that or would review or be involved in any litigation on that unless the commission is considering actually suing in that regard. And I'm not sure that this commission has that authority. Again, given the limitations under Charter Section 13.103.5 of the commission generally, and those powers vested in the director under 13.104 of the charter. So I would ask that you consider carefully whether or not to go into closed session. Usually that's a pretty straightforward matter. And again, as to item 7C, I think that is straightforward. With regard to item 7B, I think at least that there are questions and issues as to whether or not you have an appropriate basis for a closed session conference with legal counsel on the matters so stated. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that comment. Are there any others? Okay.
Oh. There are no other commenters.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to item 6, the vote on whether to hold item 7 in closed session, San Francisco Administrative Code Section 67.10D. Secretary Davis, will you please proceed with the roll call vote?
Yes. President Parker,
Yes.
Vice President LaVolsi,
Yes.
Commissioner Burrs,
Yes.
Commissioner McNeil,
Yes.
Commissioner Wong.
Yes.
Okay. All 5 commissioners voted yes, so you can enter
Okay.
closed session.
Thank you very much, Secretary Davis. We will now recess the regular meeting and reconvene in closed session in a few minutes. You stay for the first item, and then you can leave after the first item. Are we still? Hold on 1 second. Are we? But it's still recording, right? I see it's still recording. Is that purposeful?
And then you also have to start the video there. Yeah, right there. There you go.
Okay, can you hear me?
I see the mic on, so. I think the settings all look the same as before, so I think we're probably okay. Okay, we're reconvening back in open session, and we're on item 8. Vote on whether to disclose any or all discussion on item 7 held in closed session from San Francisco Administrative Code Section 67.12A. I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Thank you. And
A
a second?
second.
Okay, thank you. Vice President LaVolsi. Vice President LaVolsi.
Number 6, number 5 was just.
On whether to hold it in, oh, so we need to have closed session before we vote. Okay, so before we vote, thank you. I did not write that. Okay, so we'll have first, before we do the vote, we'll take public comment on item 8.
There are no hands raised.
Okay, thank you, Secretary Davis. So let's try that again. Okay, we do over. Commissioner McNeil, would you mind making your motion again?
Actually, now I forget it. So moved.
Yes, so that was a motion on to not disclose
Right.
any
Not disclose anything from the closed session.
from item 7.
Yeah,
Okay,
item 7.
thank you.
I second.
And then Vice President LaVolsi seconds. And then if we can do roll call.
Okay, President Parker,
Yes.
Vice President LaVolsi,
Yes.
Commissioner Burrs,
Yes.
Commissioner McNeil,
Yes.
Commissioner Wong.
Yes.
Okay, all in agreement.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. I don't know why it keeps making that noise. Okay. We'll move on to item 9, which is the Racial Equity Progress Report. This is discussion and possible action on the Election Commission's Racial Equity Progress Report. The Commission may provide an update on its FY24-25 efforts alongside the Department of Elections submission no later than September 26, 2025. So for this item, last month we tabled this item in order to receive some guidance on appropriate language we should use related to items within the purview. And we have done this. We have received some of that guidance and have also received clarity on the role of departments and oversight bodies in the updated guidance from the Office of Racial Equity. So now we will proceed with this item. And again, as with last month, I will turn it to Vice President LaVolsi to speak.
Thank you, President Parker. Thanks to the guidance of the city attorney and also a clear understanding of what is in our purview and is not in our purview, I am recommending that we not contribute to the racial equity plan that the San Francisco department is doing. That is their purview. They are working on that and they will make the appropriate recommendations. That being said, I think it's important for us to also talk about, as a commission, our core values, and for us to think about being committed to fair and free elections for everyone in San Francisco. And I think it's also important for us to keep the scope within our authority as a commission. And so that being said, I think it would be very helpful for us as we think about our discussions in the future on our goals as a commission, that we think in terms of inclusivity, equity, and that we think of that as goals that we as a commission can really think about, drill down on, and have some specific outcomes and timelines that are important to us. And at this point, I think it's something that we should each individually think about for our upcoming meetings and discussing as a group as to what those goals would be. And if anyone has any questions, I'm here to answer.
Any comments or questions about that? The direction that is recommended?
Thank you. I
Oh,
just
I
wanted
didn't see.
sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I just wanted to thank Vice President Lavolsi for taking the effort to get the guidance and take this this action. And I agree that we should redouble our efforts to maintain an open, free and fair elections. I think that's the main goal of us being here, right? So thank you.
Thank you. And I also just want to add, I appreciate your thinking and us people to think about this and agree that we want to make sure we find ways to advance our values and goals and the work under our purview and what really belongs here in our commission. So I appreciate that. So if there aren't any other comments or questions related to this, then I think we'll just go ahead and move forward with that recommendation. So let's go ahead and take public comment.
There is no public commenter.
Okay, thank you. Move on to item 10, commissioners' reports. Commission reports will be limited to a brief description of activities and announcements from each commissioner. Commission discussion will be limited to determining whether to calendar any of the issues raised for a future commission meeting. We'll begin with the president's report, reports from other commissioners, followed by any commission announcement and scheduling of items identified for consideration at future commission meetings. So I will start, and this is just kind of a continuation a little bit, or it's related to what we were just talking about. I mentioned last month that we would begin developing commission priorities at this meeting. Our agenda became too full to do that this month, and so I would like to ask people to consider suggestions to bring to our October meeting. Again, these should be items that fit under our purview as a commission. I would ask you to bring an idea or two, and if you can, some ideas on how we might actually advance that priority, not just a statement of a thing we like, but what do we want to do to advance that priority? It would be great to include some measurable goals related to the priorities when possible. I'm not imagining that we develop more than 3 priorities, but it could be just a couple. You all know, obviously, we are here to support free, fair, and functional elections. But I also just want to point out, if you all haven't read our bylaws lately, you can always pull those out too if you want to understand more of the details around our purpose and what our function is as a commission. And specifically under Article 2, Section 1 of purpose in our bylaws, it says that the commission shall oversee all public, federal, state, district, and municipal elections in the city and county, as well as set general policies for the Department of Elections, and that the commission shall be responsible for the proper administration of the general practices of the department, subject to the San Francisco Charter's budgetary and fiscal provisions, as well as other applicable state and federal laws. So those are the 2 items under purpose, and that there are some other details that go into things that we do, like voting and approving the election plan or the report after an election. There are things like that further in the bylaws. So those are on our website. If you don't have them handy, you can find them there. So that is my request to you for our next meeting. And that is all that I have under my report. So I would now open it to any other commissioners who might have a report on anything that they have been working on or doing related to the Elections Commission, or any announcements. Okay, seeing none, we will move to public comment.
Okay, hold on. Tom, do you have a public comment? Do you have a public comment?
Well, I had a comment on the previous item, and it was about adding more diversity and inclusion to the commission. And I was suggesting that there be more diversity of a political affiliation. There are some 30 parties in the city, and really only one party is represented in the commission.
Thank you very much, and I'm sorry that we missed you in the last item.
That's okay.
Thanks for your comment. Okay, any other comments?
There are no other commenters.
Okay, so we'll move on to item 11, agenda items for future meetings and commissioner announcements. Anything else beyond the priorities conversation that you all would like to see come at our October meeting? We already know that we will be seeing reports from this special election, probably some more information on the next election. We've got a tight set of work to oversee here. So, all right, if no other items, then we'll go ahead and take public comment on this item.
Tom, do you have another comment or did you just not put your hand down?
I should put my hand down. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. No more comments.
Okay, thank you. We will go ahead and adjourn our meeting now. It is 8:10 p.m.